recent retirees are some of the most depressed people on the planet, which is exactly the opposite of how it should be.
For our clients that are listening, it's going into retirement, and I see this happen all the time, to now having all the time that you are going to have in retirement and really having, that last chapter being very purposeful.
We haven't been preparing for retirement in the right way, to your point. So I'm going to give y'all 3 Bs. This is the best thing you're going to hear on the podcast today. Like, this is the best thing I've got. When you look, I've done a ton of research in the last year on what it takes to live a life of significance, to live a life of purpose. There's 3 things that you need. The first one is believing. You need a framework of truth or rules by which you live your life. You need a personal credo. This could be religion, spirituality, philosophy, a personal credo, whatever it is. You need a roadmap for making sense of the world. You just do. The world is too crazy. The world is too unpredictable. You need to understand in your head and with your values, why do things happen? What is this all for? You need some sort of roadmap for navigating life. That's believing. The second thing you need is belonging. This is the one that is most predictive of well-being. You need to give love and you need to receive love. The people you surround yourself with, the quality of your relationships is going to be the absolute single best predictor of the quality of your life. And so many times we pursue wealth to the exclusion of these relationships. I mean, you and I even just talked about you got to be a little bit stingy with your time at some point. You got to protect those relationships because work is like water. It will fill any vessel that you give it access to, right? Like, it will take up all the space in the room. If you let it, you've got to be, quote unquote, greedy, selfish with your time and privilege that belonging, those relationships. And then the third piece is becoming. We are primed for growth. We want to be better today and tomorrow than we were yesterday and the day before that. We want to be up and to the right. We want to be on a growth trajectory. So we need a vivid vision of who we can become and where we are headed. So if you've got these 3 things, if you've got rules for living, if you've got a tribe, and if you've got a vision of the person you could become and you're working on that every day, that is as good as it gets. That is the 3-part simple recipe for a happy life. But now let's talk about work and retirement. Think about how many of those needs are met by work. Believing maybe a bit, but belonging and becoming to a large extent. For men in particular, men's social ties tend to be weak outside of work, and men tend to over-rely on work as a primary means of socializing and connecting with people. So many times when men leave the workplace, they don't have a plan in place for, the church or the club or the whoever they're going to hang out with, and they're just lonely. Like, that belonging piece falls off. They may have all the money they need to retire, but they haven't made a plan for belonging. Becoming too, at work, right? You're seeing your production numbers go up. You're getting little awards. You're getting promoted. You're seeing your star rise. You're getting a new, SVP put on your title, whatever it is. Work is gamified in such a way that it recognizes and rewards progress. Retirement is not. So you have to ask yourself, that urge to be better is not going to disappear when you turn 65. So are you going to learn to play guitar? Like, are you going to be the world's greatest volunteer? Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to study, ancient languages? It doesn't matter, but you got to pick something that you can get better at because you are wired for that. So a lot of times we enter retirement, we focus on all the stuff we hate about work, and there's plenty to hate, right? We focus on the stuff that we don't like about work, but we don't fully realize the way that it buttresses and supports our social life and our personal progress.